The sponsor of this episode is the ClimbingPill training platform. It's a training platform for climbing by Offer Blutreich. He is a professional climber, a coach, and a physio, and a great person. I've been with the platform now for a good couple of months, and it's great. I was sick a bit and had a climbing holiday, and now in the last month or so, I'm really on it. And I must tell you, I feel very good, and it's great how the climbing and the training suits your lifestyle. It has a bot that reminds you every day what you need to do, a 24/7 support from a team of coach and physio. So that's a real nice and game changer. And if you want to check it out also and get 20% off your first month of training, you can use CDP24 on checkout on the climbingpill.com. And you can find it as well on our Instagram and on the website of Climbing Destinations podcast. If you enjoy the podcast and you would like to support by any way, so please feel free to join the Patreon. The Patreon is a way for content creators get support by their audience. So it's you can find it on the Instagram or just Patreon Climbing Destinations podcast. And it's low. It starts as low as $5 a month, and it really helps a lot. So there you go. As well, on the website, the Climbing Destinations podcast, you can find all the show notes for every episode and some other collaborations such as Mountain Hardware, Gear Shop, and other interesting collaborations, which will give you some discount and will support the podcast. So yeah, next time you buy a new jacket or a bag, check this out first. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Climbing Destinations podcast. I'm Amit, your host. And first, I would like to thank people for reaching out and sharing some love on Instagram. It's really appreciated and it's really cool to get some feedback. Now, it's worth to say that if you have an idea for an episode, please feel free to reach out and share it. So today we are discovering one of the most popular and famous sport climbing areas in the world, and that's Kalymnos. Kalymnos is a Greek magical island that has an insane amount of rock of the highest quality imaginable. Picture this: beautiful walls, massive, black, orange, white colors with tufas, pockets, crimps, and whatever you want. Behind is the Mediterranean deep blue sea with some of the most welcoming locals you can ever imagine, and on top of that, super fresh and amazing food, all combined. Well, this is Kalymnos. To get the most out of Kalymnos, I'm grateful to host Santi, or Santiago Valerga, full name. Santi is a mountain guide, ski and rock guide for more than 20 years guiding in the mountains. His guiding company in Catalonia, nicely located in the mecca of climbing near Margalef and Sirana. Santi has been going for pleasure and for work to Kalymnos for many years and has obviously lots of great insight to share. And we started off with some interesting conversation about him and took it quite deep into climbing, best crag routes, bolting, degrading, some spicy conversations about that, and lots of really good practicalities stuff as well, and of course the food. Towards the end, Santi talks about cicloblock, which is a Spanish term for deep water soloing, so that's as well. And that's it. I'll let you enjoy it. Whether you're planning to go soon or just want to dream about this magical place, I hope you enjoy it a lot. And I'll see you other side. Ciao, ciao for now. Hello, Santi. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
How are you?
Good. A little tired. Today was
Sure.
a long day. I'm up since 5:30 a.m. Yes.
Where have you
I
been?
was guiding in Montserrat, the typical Cabal Bernat, in Montserrat.
Yeah.
So I was guiding up there. So it was we go early at this time of the year because today especially was a little cold. So Yeah, the wall it's in the sun in the morning. So the idea was to climb in the sun as long as possible. And yeah, it was a good decision because the last pitch we were in the shade and it was freezing. So, but it was just one pitch.
Well, yeah. Then good job.
Yes.
How many pitches?
It's a total of 7 pitches, 7, 8 pitches. It depends. There is some pitches you can link together. But yes, normally I climb it in 7 pitches. So yeah, it's not super high, super long, but it's yeah, it's a very mythical mountain, around Barcelona and in Catalonia.
Yes, true. Yeah. Is it really sketchy? Like like a lot of stuff in Montserrat in terms of bolts and stuff?
Yeah, I would say it is. I mean, when you look, it's one of those routes that when you look at the topo on the on the on the websites or on the guidebook, it doesn't look that sketchy because like the first 5 pitches are pretty easy. I mean, it's like 4 plus 5 climbing. But on those pitches, you're climbing like 40 meters with like 6 bolts. So, I mean, like you have to be
Yeah.
very solid.
Classic.
Yeah, classic Montserrat.
Exactly.
Yes.
Wow, man, actually, it's so good. Like, because I've been thinking for a while with who I'm gonna do as well, Montserrat. We're not talking today about Montserrat, but I feel like it's such an underrated area,
Yes. Sure.
and it needs to be.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
classic.
but
People love it there. It's amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorite places in Catalonia
yeah,
for sure.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing, and it really teaches you how to climb.
Yes.
I feel like.
Exactly. It teaches you how to use
Yeah,
your feet and move on the wall, and it's really nice.
exactly,
Super cool.
exactly. Yeah. Oh, so maybe we'll do another one if you
Awesome.
feel like.
Yeah.
Okay. So today we are talking about another amazing area. I am like honored, that you are speaking about it and we are speaking about like Kalymnos, maybe the most popular sport climbing area in the
I
world.
think so. Yes, I think it's still, at least in my list, is the top climbing destination, like a vacation destination, I would say. Like when you want like
Yes.
to go on holidays and climbing, it's amazing. It's the number one.
Yeah, nothing beats that.
And for me,
Yeah.
I organize like guided trips, so it's still the trip that it sells out really fast when I put out the dates. It's for example, now I'm going back in May and I have 2 groups in May, and the 2 groups are full since June last year. So yes,
Whoa.
it's
Crazy.
it's crazy. And now I have already people for May next year sign up.
That's
Yes,
amazing.
it's such a great spot, and most the people that
It
come one
is.
time, they normally repeat. It's hard not to repeat.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Wow. Okay, so before we go deep into Kalymnos, so can you share a bit about yourself in general and everything about you?
Yeah, sure.
Stuff.
My name is Santiago. I'm from Argentina. I grew up in Argentina, and kind of in the city, between the city and the mountains. But then in the year, I started climbing a little bit more than 25 years ago. Uh, and eventually I started traveling to the United States to teach skiing and guide over there. So I was guiding there and teaching skiing for about 15 years. And then in 2014, I moved to Spain, to Catalonia, specifically to like the Surana area, Surana Margalef area. And now I have my base here. And, I work as a guide. I guide basically every day. teach climbing courses, multi-pitch climbing courses, everything. And do a lot of trips to Greece, of course, to Thailand, Jordan, Morocco, uh, and different areas. Yeah, and that's basically it. I have a family here, so I have my partner and I. We have 2 kids, and yeah, that's that takes a lot of time. It's really fun, and it's pretty amazing.
Nice. Thanks for that. Wow. So you guide every day, pretty much.
Oh, pretty much, yes. I'm almost every day out. Like this week, I was guiding. I was guiding the whole weekend. I was guiding yesterday, today, tomorrow, and then I have Thursday and Friday. I have it off. Uh, I I usually take at least one day off. I try to take during the week, um, so I can spend some more time with the kids too, and also like rest a little bit. If not, it gets super
Yeah.
tiring.
Wow. Yeah. Impressive. Is it just like out of curiosity? Is like here is tourists or is it locals? Spanish.
It's a mix. Before COVID, it was mainly tourists, like from the United States, from Germany, from different countries in the European Union. But then after COVID or during COVID, basically it changed a lot, and now I have a big base of more local clients. So a lot of people from Barcelona, from many different areas in Catalonia. And yeah, now recently, like 6 months ago, we started like this climbing club, basically, which is it works as if like with a membership. So people sign up, and now we have a big roster of people. And they do training sessions with us during the week, and then we do outdoor climbing during the weekends. So
Ah,
yeah,
amazing. Really cool.
yeah, it's pretty nice.
Ah,
And
really cool.
it's working
Yeah.
really nice,
And
so it's good.
nice. And I have to ask, like, when you are guiding so much, do you still, or if you had it before, I don't know, but like, do you enjoy climbing for yourself, or like push your climbing, or is it like you don't have the time?
um yes, I really I still love climbing. I love it. I like it's I think it's the thing I will do forever, as long as I can, for sure. um it's harder for sure because I'm guiding most of the time, so it's harder to find time to climb for myself. But I try to find those spaces because I really needed to keep my motivation up, to feel like, so as mainly to also to feel like that I'm in shape when I go climbing and guiding. Because then when I go guiding, I don't know, to places like Morocco or to Jordan, where the climbing, it's pretty. I mean, it's sometimes we're not climbing the hardest climbs, but it's pretty, complex, and there is a lot of risk
Yeah,
and different things. You want to be strong. You want to feel like you can climb kind of with ease through the climbs. So yeah, I
yeah,
try to at least to train 2 times a week. During the week, I try to go to the climbing gym and train, and go climbing at least one day per week for myself, with friends around here, and go try hard sport routes or do like a harder multi-pitch climb or something like this. Yeah.
nice, nice, really cool. That's cool to hear. It's inspiring.
Thank you.
Nice. And what's your favorite style of climbing, if we're talking about that?
Oh, this is a tricky question. I like all types of climbing, but definitely I think for me the what I enjoy the most is maybe like alpine climbing or trad climbing, like something that involves more than just the physical aspect of climbing, where you have to your mind plays a bigger game. So I like a lot trad climbing, and trying to push my limits a little bit more on trad climbing, and of course climbing in the bigger mountains like in the Alps or Patagonia, where you're it's more alpine climbing. You need to not be like the best in all the disciplines, but you need to know how to a little bit of ice climbing, moving in the mountains, strat climbing, be strong in sport climbing too. So it's like a nice mix. But I think it also goes by
The mix, yeah.
by, I don't know, like there is certain times, like in the last couple of years where I had moments where I was more motivated with, okay, go and try bigger alpine climbs and things like this. And then, of course, after that, you want to chill a little bit and relax and have more, like a more mellow time. So you go like sport climbing and clips and bolts and just relax and push hard in there.
Yeah.
In the sport
Yeah.
climbing, which is nice. It's more relaxed, not so stressful. So it's nice. And that also, it's the nice thing about climbing. It never gets boring. You can always switch a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like for many people, especially, no, I think for many people, not just like high level, it's what keeps it like motivated for forever, because you can switch around always, and
Yes.
you always find something interesting. Yeah,
Yes.
that's really cool. Nice. Okay, let's go to Leonidio. Leonidio, we had Kalymnos.
Not Benny.
Sorry. So Kalymnos, let's just go into it. How long have you know the island, and when have you been there?
Perfect. Yeah. So the first time I was in Kalymnos, it was in 2010. So 14 years ago now. And since then, I've been there almost every year except for like 2 of the COVID years, basically. But I've been there almost every year. And it's the most of the times that I've been there, like the first couple of years I've been there, I actually stayed long time. I was there like month and a half, 2 months, at least 1 month always. And then of course it became more of a guided trip. So now when I go there, it's 15 days, 20 days, more or less, always. Yeah.
Nice. And so like, can you, like, it's always a bit more difficult for me because I also, like, I've been there a few times when I'm not in a destination, so I'm like, I really want to understand how it looks like and everything, so the questions are like a bit more natural, but
Okay.
but we can do it together. So can you like paint us a picture and like give, first of all, general introduction, like what is Kalymnos and where it is, and basically like the general, and then let's go
Okay.
inside more.
So first thing is Kalymnos is an island. It's not on mainland Greece, so it's one of the bigger islands of the. I don't know how you say this in English, but I think it's Deodocanes or something like this. It's really close to Turkey, actually. Like it's right across from Bodrum, basically. Really, really close. There is actually one of the climbing areas and one of the nicer beaches that you have in Kalymnos. That when you go there, you have like, I usually ask people to put their phones on airplane mode because it catches like the Turkish phone service, and then it charges them like
No.
60 euros for the roaming. So
No
yes,
way.
I always ask people like, okay, when we go here, you have to put your cell phone in airplane mode. If not, if you don't want to pay 60 euros. So
That's funny.
yeah, and it's a beautiful island. It's not super big. You can go around the island basically, like if you rent a scooter or in a car, you can go around the island in a couple of hours. It's super fast. Um, and I actually, one of the couple times I've been there, I've ridden a bike around the island in just one day, stopping and things like this, which is really
Oh,
nice. too. So and Kalymnos has a main port which is called Potia, which is like the capital of Kalymnos. Basically, is where most of the population in the island lives. And then it has different little towns around the island, and the climbers town, it's called Masuri. Basically, it's a small little town. It's basically a street that has like shops and a lot of climbing shops for sure. Now I remember the first time I was there was like one or two climbing shops, and now there is like 8 climbing shops. Or
Yeah, so
yeah,
many. Yeah.
and there is a lot of bars and restaurants and little studios and hotels, and it's pretty interesting street because it's just a street, but it's always noisy and busy and a lot of scooters like going around one way and the other. So yeah, that's Kalymnos basically, and then it has um, a side of the island. It's a little bit more wild. When you go, there is this area you go that it's more unexplored. That it's toward Emporios, and you can get like there is a dead end road that gets there, and from there, basically, if you want to keep going, you need to hike. There is no more roads to go up. So yeah, you can hike, and there is still walls there. I mean, it's amazing. Uh, I think the first guidebook for Kalymnos was in year 2000, and it's been several editions now. On each guidebook, there is like 500 to 1,000 new routes. Uh,
That's
it's
crazy.
crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, and still there are more.
Yes,
Like you can still develop more and more.
yes,
Yeah,
a lot.
that's crazy,
Yeah.
really. How many are there now? You know about?
I think right now it's almost 4,000 routes, or maybe now it even past the 4,000. So the last
Wow,
guidebook that came out was in 2023, last year. I was there with the group in end of May, and the new guidebook was supposed to come out just when we left. And on the new guidebook, which is amazing, it's the new guidebook. It's great. Like the quality of the guidebook, it's amazing. I think it lists a little bit more than 4,000 routes for sure.
yeah, that's enough. for-
Yes, it's you have a couple lifetimes climbing there.
Yeah. Wow. Um. Okay, so let's do let's do the climbing and the practicalities like after.
Okay.
So I have a question. Always, when you go to traveling for climbing, you're like, why is this area so famous and why is that not? And why do you think why Kalymnos is like so
So
yeah
good.
famous and so popular? Yeah, why? Like, what's the few components together that makes it what it is like
Um,
for you?
I think it's a great combo. Like you have pretty good weather. You have an island that it's pretty. I mean, it depends on the season and everything, but it's pretty easy to access from mainland Europe in general. Um, and then you have good food. The people in the island is amazing, like super friendly, super welcoming. They're amazing all the time, and the quality of the climbing, it's crazy. It's crazy good. Like, I mean, you have all styles of climbing. You have um out of those 4,000 routes that we were just talking about, I think at least 60% of those climbs are like easier climbs, like they are between the 5 or 4 plus to the 7A grade. So there is a lot of climbing for everyone there. And then if you want to climb harder, you still have another 40% of like 7A to 9A. So there is climbing for everyone. When you go to I don't know. Let's say you wanna try routes on the Grande Grota cave, then you can go with a group that has someone that climbs like 5+ and someone that climbs 8A, and you have routes for everyone there, because you don't, like, right next to the Grande Grota you have afternoon, and you have panorama, and you have routes in all the grades, so it makes it really easy for everyone to climb there. And and then the weather, it's pretty good during the fall, the spring, even in the summertime. I've been there a couple times in the summertime, and it's pretty good. It's a little secret, but it's amazing.
Not a secret.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, because every time I tell people that I'm gonna go to Kalymnos in July or like end of June, they're like, "You're crazy! It's too hot." And I mean, yeah, it's really hot outside. I mean, it can get up to 32, 34 degrees in the sun, of course. But the thing is that from mid-June, more or less, on, there is these strong winds that start to blow every day in the morning. And so you go climbing in the shade in the morning in Kalymnos. I guess we'll talk about this later, but you mainly climb, most of the climbing is in the morning. So you can go climbing in the morning really early. And I've been there in July with groups wearing like light down jackets while we were climbing,
Wow.
because we had like this
Wow.
super strong winds blowing, and we were in the shade, and it was kind of chilly. And the good thing that the
Wow.
trade-off is that you finish climbing, and then you go down, and yes, the hike down is it's really hot because it's usually afternoon. But then you go to the beach, and the sea is already warmer, than in May or April, and you can swim, and you can enjoy the beach too, which is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been hearing about like a couple of friends of mine as well that went in the summer, the last few summers. And yeah, same. Like what you say, they said it was absolutely amazing. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also there is less people, or
Yes.
there used to be less people,
Yeah, maybe
because
now.
yeah, I mean, like, I the first time I was there in the summer, I think it was in the year 2015, maybe. And I remember I got there, it was super hot. I was coming from Turkey, climbing in Turkey, and we got there were no climbers, there were just regular tourists on the beach. But there were like about 15 to 20 grid climbers at that time. And they were like, we started talking with them, and they were like, wow, this is for us, it's the best season because there is no people. You have the wind in the mornings, and you can still climb. And it's pretty nice. And then the last time I was there in this, like, it was end of June. It was 2 years ago, and there was already a lot of people for, like, being already summer. It wasn't crowded as in
Yeah.
October, but yeah, for sure there was more people.
Yeah. And yeah, I wanted to say as well that what you mentioned before, like that it's so true. There is like climbing for every grade, and the quality is just amazing and everything. And I find, like, I was there a couple of years ago, but still, also when it's super popular and super in a crowded time of the year, still if you hike, you can reach crags that
Yes,
are you will be alone or not so many people.
yes, yes, 100%, 100% true. I mean, there is more than 400 sectors. If you want to climb in a crowded sector, you can do that, or you can hike a little bit and go find a sector that it's basically empty, and you can climb by yourself, even in the high season.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a good note. Okay, so I guess most people know, but the style is we have 100% sport climbing, right?
Yes. There is some trail routes, but it's not known for that. I mean, there recently in the last couple of years, but I would say I would never go there trad climbing, of course. I go there sport
Okay.
climbing. There is
Yeah.
even like good multi-pitch climbs in Kalymnos, in the
Yeah.
small island that it's
Okay.
it's kind of considered part of Kalymnos, basically, right? Kalymnos, it's like 10-minute ferry boat from Kalymnos. The multi-pitch routes are really good, but I mean, like, I've never done any of the multi-pitch climbs there. I always go sport climbing.
Yeah.
And I've also seen people. It surprised me a lot. One time I was in the ferry and I saw all these people with crash pads, and apparently, like,
No
yes,
way.
there is people going bouldering there now. I've never been bouldering there, but I know
Whoa.
people go bouldering too. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Oh, I would like to know about that. Interesting. Okay. And then the rock type and the general characteristic of the climbing.
Rock type, it's limestone, and general characteristic, I think there is two main styles in Kalymnos, basically. There is like tufas and stalactites, basically, and like overhang climb from slightly overhang to very overhang climbing. And then you have also some nice, like, on the easier routes, you have more technical crimpy climbing on gray rock, like this super solid nice gray rock. So yeah, you have a mix of these two styles, which is nice.
Super nice. And the grading and stuff, it's known to be a bit soft. Do you agree with this?
Yes and no. I mean, like, it depends. There was a time some years ago that it was still soft, but then there was an edition of the guidebook that put most of the routes, it downgraded most of the routes, like half grade, especially based on the 8A dot NU, like what people were saying there and everything. So the one of the latest editions downgraded most of the routes. So I don't know if it's that soft, actually. I think it's different style what people it's normally used to climb, and the routes are long in many cases. They're longer than 30 meters. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't agree 100% that it's super soft, but it's not graded super hard either. I think it's right. It's correct.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming out and saying that. I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Like, I meet people in different places and they're like, "Ah, you've been to Kalymnos, it's super fucking soft. Ah, I did there." And I'm like, "No, I don't know. It's not soft, man. Like,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
climbed in Margalef, I did the route, and then I did there, and it felt like about the same
Yeah,
difficulty.
yeah.
I don't know."
No, and funny story. Last year I was climbing there with after I was guiding there, I stayed there a couple extra days, and I was climbing with a friend from here. He climbs really hard. He climbs up to 8C and AB plus 8C, and he find the routes pretty hard, actually. So that was
Yeah.
my I don't know how you say it, like it proved that it was that that it's not soft. I was like, okay, I was correct. It's
Yes.
not soft. I mean, it used to be that maybe some routes
Thank
were
you.
graded a little softer, but I don't think that's the case anymore now. I think the grading, it's perfect, it's correct. You just need to get used to the style of the climbing there, and yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy we did that. I'm happy we mentioned that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I know people that haven't been to Kalymnos because they say that the grading is soft, and I'm like, oh, you're missing. Well, don't go,
Oh
don't go.
man.
It's okay. You're missing out on like the best climbing area in the world. So
Exactly. Exactly. Now another thing that is quite close to that, or like talked a lot about when you talk about Kalymnos, which is the bolting.
yes,
which is like, what do you think? Like, it's a topic I talk about in all of the destinations that we talk about. So Kalymnos is famous to be like super safe or super friendly. What's your opinion?
I think, I mean, they have, so if you read the guidebook, at the beginning of the guidebook, they have all these outlines to bold routes that you have to follow. And actually, nowadays, like since not too long ago, I think like 1 or 2 years ago, if you want to bolt a route, you need to ask to permission. You have to send an email to like there is this, these people, you have to send an email and they have to approve the bolting of the new route or the new area. And they make sure that about your climbing experience, like your bolting experience, especially, that you know how to bolt routes, that you have the correct material to do this. They are trying to enforce that all the routes are bolted with stainless steel bolts, or yes, or even titanium, some of the newer routes.
Titanium.
So they're trying to enforce this, and then they have like all these outlines they send you where, they try to make sure that the first bolt is not higher than 2.8 meters from the ground, and then the second bolt is not further than 2 meters from the first bolt, and then after that they have to be at a certain distance.
Interesting.
Yeah, they have all these outlines, but I don't think they've been followed that much. It's true that the bolting it's really good. I mean, I never found it to be excessive. It's perfect and it makes the climbing really safe. And then I found routes where you are like, oh, I mean, I'm in Kalymnos and this bolt feels a little bit too far apart, like, so I found routes where you are like, oh, and this is not so close as I expected. And also from my experience with the groups I'm guiding, like I always push them to try harder and harder on the routes and like to try their best. And in most cases, the feedback I get back from them when they're climbing routes is that they've heard this, that the bolting supposed to be like super close together and everything like this, because of course they do their own research before traveling. But then one of the feedbacks I usually get is that the bolts were not as close as they thought it would be.
That's super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. You also have to have in mind that in Kalymnos, there is no, like, I mean, here if you're climbing in Surana, you dial 112 and then you have a helicopter over your head in 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
True.
And over there, you're on an island, and it's very understandable that you don't want to have like serious accidents happen. Like, I mean, there's still accidents going on, different types of accidents for different reasons, but I, at least that I know or I heard of, none because of the bolting, as long as I know yet. So, yeah, you don't want to have serious accidents happen there, because they have a rescue team, but it's a volunteer rescue team. It works on donations, and it takes some time for the rescue team to gather if there is an accident and get to you, and then take you out of the wall and take you down to the hospital. And then the hospital in Kalymnos is not like a top-end hospital. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very understandable that you want to have like this as a safe sport climbing destination.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but as well, thank you for that. I think it needs to be said. It's like, yeah, many people think they're going to. I think people that haven't been there, kind of with all the talk around it, think they're gonna go and climb like bolt ladders, but it's not the case. It's just
No.
really well bolted. It's well bolted. That's what
Yes,
it is.
it's well bolted. Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
it's not that
Yeah.
yeah. Basically, you have to climb in between bolts for sure, in all the routes. But it's well bolted. I mean, if you fall, it's a good fall, always, most of the time. And then Also, it's interesting to understand, because sometimes we think about places like, Surana or Margalef, where the walls are pretty clean when you bolt a route, and then let's say you bolt and you're not thinking of the obstacles in the middle and how the rope is going to run and all this. And in Kalymnos and other places around the world, of course, but in Kalymnos is one of those places where, especially on the overhang and like climbs with stalactites and tufas, you have to think of how the rope is going to run through the wall when you're climbing. Because then if you fall and the rope goes tense against the stalactite, it can break it down. Yes. So this is something that sometimes you'll find a route that maybe has like two bolts that are a little slightly closer together, and that's because the bolter thought about like, okay, when we clip this and this bolt, the rope is gonna run through here and it's gonna avoid touching the stalactite or the tufa or whatever.
Yeah, true. Very good point. Yeah. Also, cleaning is like a bit tricky sometimes with the rope going around
Yes.
the stalactites and stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff you need to, to think about a bit. Yeah.
Yes, there was. I think it was this famous climb. It's a 7A in Grande Grota that it's called Trela. That had a huge stalactite that it actually came off because someone was cleaning the route and it swing out and it cut the rope with the rope. It cut the stalactite and it bring it down. Many years ago.
Whoa.
This was
Yeah.
more than 10 years ago or so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like when he cleaned the route and he released the quick draw and then the rope got tensed.
Yeah.
Tensed and broke off I can see it happening. Well, okay, nice. So we were talking about these two stuff and the climbing. So let's keep going on the climbing. So it's gonna be hard, but do you have some? Let's separate it. Like cracks that you like the most. I don't know, like 2 or 3, and then a few that you think are a must. That people must go.
Perfect. Yeah, that's easy in Kalymnos. I mean, like a must go. Yes, there is super classic climb areas that you have to go when you visit Kalymnos on your first trip for sure. And I think, of course, like all the area, the Grande Grota area, where you have Grande Grota, which is the cave, Panorama on the right side, and then Afternoon on the left side. I think this area is kind of mandatory visit. I don't think anyone goes to Kalymnos and don't go there. Then of course, if you can climb harder than 7B or 7C, it's nice to visit Sikati Cave because it's a very unique place. It's super unique. You're walking, basically, you don't see anything. You don't see a wall. You're like, oh, where I'm going? It's like there's nothing here, and suddenly you have like this huge hole on the ground that, like, if a crater, like something fell down there and opened this huge crater. So it's a super unique place, and I think it's worth visiting. At least looking at it, it's amazing. It's super special. And then Odyssey, of course, it was one of the first walls to be bolted in Kalymnos, and it's pretty amazing. It has routes for everyone, although they are pretty polished right now.
Yeah,
I would say. But still, I mean, you can still climb and have a lot of fun there, and the routes are really nice. So I think those three are a must. Then if you want like longer routes, like if you like long routes in the 6A to 7A grade, I think Poets, it's amazing. Like the central part of the wall, it's amazing. Super fun climbing there. Pretty cool lines that go forever, like 42 meters, 40
Wow.
meters, like there is I remember we always climb this climb that is like 6A plus or 6A, that is 42 meters, and it's
Wow.
just beautiful. It climbs and climbs, and it's super, super enjoyable. So
Wow.
nice.
Yeah.
It's amazing climbing. And then Secret Garden, I think it's also a really nice crack. I really liked it there, the times I've been there. So it's nice. And then the ones I like the most, for me personally, that I try to go to, there is this kind of new crack. It's not so new. It's like 4 years old now, but it's called Valhalla. It's shade. It's really nice because it has shade in the afternoon, which in Kalymnos you don't have a lot of walls with shade in the afternoon. But it's amazing climbing. You have to, it's a long hike, but you're there climbing by yourself in most cases. So
Wow.
it's
Never heard of that.
yeah, it's a pretty cool sector. And it has a little bit of everything. It has routes. Some routes, I would say, it's not worth going if you don't climb at least 6B. But from 6B to 8A, you have a little bit of everything.
Wow.
Pretty amazing place.
How it looks like? Like what's the word?
It's so the this other area that is called Spartacus in Kalymnos, that is
Yes.
above the Grande Grota. It looks a lot like Spartacus. It's like this small cave. So it has in the sides it's more slabby. So
Okay.
there is easier climbs on the side, which is more vertical, or I wouldn't say slab, but it's vertical, like that vertical. And then it has like this small cave in the middle with the harder routes. And the routes are like 30-meter long, super nice, super athletic climbing, really fun, very, very nice. And the views are amazing because you're looking down to this beach that it's really hard to get to. Like, I mean, I think you can only get there by boat.
Easy.
So the views are amazing. It's shaded in the afternoon, so it's pretty
Amazing.
cool.
Is it in the new
Yeah.
guidebook?
Yes, I think it's in the new guidebook. I don't have the new guidebook yet because we left before it came out, but I think it's in the new guidebook for
Cool.
sure.
Valhalla. Okay.
Valhalla, yes.
Nice.
And of course, I like Panorama a lot. Also, Panorama is one of my favorite walls. I love the climbs there. I think my favorite climb in Kalymnos is in Panorama. It's a 7A plus. That it's just amazing climbing.
What's the
'cause
name?
It's called Lulu in the Sky.
Okay. And what? Yeah.
Yes.
Describe it a bit.
So this route I do it every year I go. It's like the goal. Every year I go, it's like no matter what, I have to climb this route. So it's so nice. It starts with a more technical climbing, like crimpy style climbing for a couple bolts. And then after you pass, actually the harder part of the climb is on the technical part, like on the crimpy part. And then once you pass this, it gets more like slightly overhang, and it's like these two tufas that run parallel, for like 30 meters. So you
Wow.
climb first like 15 meters of technical climbing, and then you have 30 meters of two tufas that run parallel. So you're
Oh my God.
climbing in two tufas. It's amazing.
That's amazing. And there are probably good
yeah.
holds, I guess, all the way.
Good holds, good knee bars. You can rest. You can
Yeah.
yes. It's just it's amazing. Amazing
Wow.
climbing.
Lulu in the Sky, I really remember. I didn't know about that.
Yes.
It's a good tip.
Lulu in the Sky.
Nice. I realize now that I asked you about Valhalla that we need to kind of paint a picture a little bit of the other cracks you mentioned. So the Grande Grota.
Yes, Grande Grota. It's kind of the famous crag in Kalymnos. It's a super overhang, lot of stalactites. So you're climbing super athletic, super powerful climbs. It's basically, I would say it's a big roof. Basically, it's not because it's not an overhang. It's a big roof.
Yeah, huge.
But it's interesting because you are climbing on a roof, but it's like 3D climbing. Like you are not climbing. Like, I mean, you can hack to the stalactites and you can knee bar and you can, so it doesn't feel that powerful as if you were climbing full on a roof just pulling from jacks. And then on Grande Grota you have some of the typical most repeated climbs in Kalymnos. You have Aegialis, which is this amazing 7C that
Yeah.
climbs kind of on the left edge of the cave there. It's a beautiful route, super powerful, super athletic. It's super famous because it's very photogenic. Like, I mean, anyone, like when there is someone climbing there, there is someone taking a picture always. It's crazy.
A must.
Yeah, I remember reading a story somewhere that it was saying that if the bolter of Agialis would get €1 or $1 per every picture that's been taken on that route, he would be millionaire for sure.
I met this guy, his name is George or Georgios or something. You know him?
Georgios. Yes, I know him. I actually met him on a summer in Kalymnos. Yes.
Yeah, he's such a legend.
He's a legend.
I was there when he was when we were climbing some route next to it, and he was just going doing laps on this route, on this 7C.
Yes.
Showing his friends the beta. Yeah. Oh man, and he's like 50 years old, and he's so fit.
He's so fit. He's amazing.
He's such a nice guy.
He's quite a character, an amazing person.
He is. Yeah, he is. Nice.
Yeah, so you have this route, then you have the other super typical route there is DNA, which is a 7A.
DNA, yeah.
Yeah, it's a short 7A. It's like 20 meters long, and it has a lot of knee bar beta. Like, I mean, if you know how to knee bar, you can climb that route without any effort, basically. But you have to know how to knee bar really well. But it's amazing, super fun route. The thing there is getting in line and trying to climb that route, because there is always people on that route. There is always a line. There is always someone trying the route, and it's no matter what time of the year you're there, it's really hard to get on the route. And and then there are other amazing climbs there. I mean, there is a lot of routes between the 7A and 8A range. There is a lot of routes in the cave. There is this super typical 8A that is called Fan de Sichuan or something. I can remember. I don't know how to pronounce exactly the last part, but it's Fan de Sichuan or something like this. Is it? Which it's super nice. It's amazing. It's one of these routes that you want to climb. I remember I climbed this route when I waited for the quick draws to be on, because it's one of those routes that you don't want to clean because it's gonna be a pain. Like, I mean, you basically have to clean some of the quick draws as you come down, but then you lower and then you have to reclimb the route on top rope to climb it. Because it's impossible. So yeah, it's crazy, but really a lot of really good routes.
Yeah.
What else?
Amazing.
With other sector we had Odyssey, right?
Yeah, Odyssey, this beautiful white orange wall, right?
Yes. It's like this cliff band that goes along, and it has routes on all the grades. It's amazing because from the beginning, as soon as you get to the wall, like the first 10 routes or so, they're like 4+ to 6A. There is actually a really nice 5+ that we usually do with the groups there, that it's amazing at the very beginning. I can't remember the name, but let me see if I have it here.
On the right side, no?
Yes, on the right side. I think it's Nesuno. That's the name. Nesuno. It's a 5+. It's amazing. And then as soon as you start getting more towards the middle of the wall and the far left end, you have harder routes up to 8B, or actually harder. In Odyssey, you actually have the first 9A in Kalymnos, which was climbed by Adam Ondra. Yeah, Los Revolucionarios. That's the name.
And I think it's a 7A up to the middle or something, so you can right?
Yeah, no, I think well, I'm not sure about this, but I think the one
I
you're saying
remember
it's
something.
Lucky Luca, the one you're talking about.
Ah,
It's
could be.
Lucky Luca. It's a 7A or 7A plus up to first anchor 20 meters, and then it goes to 8B or 8B plus, something like this.
Ah, could be,
But I
could be.
think Los Revolucionarios, it's 9A from, like, I mean, of course not from the beginning, but it doesn't have like a
Yeah, yeah.
middle anchor. Yeah.
So you cannot do it.
I don't know. I never tried. Hard.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but it's cool to have like a 7A up to the middle, then like anyone,
Yes.
normal people can go.
Yes. And then you can say you were climbing on a nane.
Exactly.
I was trying Los Revolucionarios.
Exactly.
Nice.
Take it on 8A and you. Cool. Did you have more cracks that were your favorites? You were saying Valhalla poets, and did you have one
Valhalla, Panorama,
panorama?
Secret Garden. Yes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Panorama, it's this wall that it's basically, I mean, like Grande Grota and Panorama are basically together. So there is a route basically where this is up to here is Grande Grota, and from here on it's Panorama. And Panorama is this wall that this is really amazing because it has routes that are, you have routes from the 6B, I would say from 6B, 6A plus, 6B and up. And it's pretty cool because you have routes like Carpe Diem, which is like 6B plus to a first anchor. So it's 20 meters, 6B plus, and then you have an extension that it's like 7A, and then you have another extension that it's like
Wow,
7C or 8A, you know? So it has like really long routes, and usually it has like intermediate anchors, so you can climb, like the first 20, 25 meters, and it's like usually somewhere between 6B and 7A, and then it gets harder. So
nice.
yeah, it's an amazing wall. It has really cool routes. The views are amazing, and it's a really cool place to do like a nice swing. There is this ledge where you climb Carpe Diem, actually, this route or the one to the right. And then from there, actually, you swing out, and you have like this typical picture in Kalymnos where you're swinging out, and you have like Telendos in the back, and the Grande Grot,
Yeah,
and the sea, and everything. So
amazing. I will ask
yeah.
from you the picture to put it
Yes, I
classically.
have a lot of those pictures from
I
the
can
group.
imagine. Nice. So another question, last one about crags is as a guide, I think you're the perfect person to ask that. So do you have recommendation if we're talking about the group now, let's say like, climbing sixes, then a group that climbs like higher 6, 7s, and then like harder stuff. You have like in mind recommendations for that?
Yes, for sure. So I think one of the best areas for me for climbers that climb between like I would say like 5 plus to 6B or 6B plus, it's Arginonta Valley. It's this place
Yeah.
that it's actually in a small valley. So you go in this dirt road, and it's a small hike, a short hike, and it's in the shade in the afternoon, actually. And it's like this compact gray wall with amazing climbs, pretty long. They're 25, 30 meter long, and there is a lot of climbs from 5 plus up to 6B, 6B plus. Really fun climbs, super super well vaulted. And yeah, the moves are amazing. Good holds all the time. So it's really nice wall, this one, and that great. And if you want to climb in the morning at that grade, we usually go to afternoon, which is on the left side of Grande Grota, which also has a lot of routes between like 4 plus up to 7A. But a lot in that range between like 5 and 6B, 6C, a lot of routes there. Then if we move up to the harder grades, I would say like from 6B plus or 6C and up. I really like Secret Garden. It's really fun. Powerful climbing, very athletic on tufas. So yeah, it's pretty intense climbing there. Also Panorama, I really like it there because most of the routes are in that range between 6B plus to 7B plus, 7C. Valhalla, I would say also one of the new additions that has some of this stuff for that grade. Yes, and also there is this area that is above Grande Grota. It's called Spartacus, which has really nice routes in that range too.
Nice.
Super nice.
Nice. And then for, like, let's say people that are coming for the higher sevens and above?
So higher sevens, let's say like from 7B plus and higher, maybe. I would say for sure Grande Grota. Grande Grota, it's is the perfect place for that if you want like steep overhang climbs and that grade. Also there is this wall that it's called Jurassic Park, that it's like right across from Spartacus. It's a longer hike. It takes like 40 minutes to get there, hike there. But it has amazing routes in the 7C, 8A range, more or less. Pretty cool. Odyssey, it's amazing for that level. I think my favorite climbs in Kalymnos for like the 7C, in the 7C range are there. They're amazing. There is this route that it's called Marci Mark, which is like 7C plus, which is amazing. Super fun route.
I think I've tried it.
It's
Yeah,
it's a beautiful route. So nice.
yeah.
And there is so many routes there, like bunch of routes in that range, like 7B plus to 7C plus. A lot of those routes in Odyssey to climb. It's true, it's a little polished now, but I mean,
Still okay.
still okay. You can still climb. You're mainly climbing on big holes.
Exactly.
It's overhang, so I mean, you can still pull there.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks. Okay. And let's think about like specific climbing, and then let's go to like some practicalities and that. If you have,
Okay.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you have like few specific routes that you really like you said about, the long 6A and the stuff like that.
Yes, I would say for sure Lulu in the Sky. This route, I do it every time.
Lulu in the sky.
It's amazing. Yes, that's in Panorama.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Panorama, and it's an amazing route. There is in Ghost Kitchen. Ghost Kitchen is this area that it's towards Emporios. And there is this route that it's called Daphne, which is like 6C plus or 6C, something like this, which is really beautiful climbing. Amazing, super fun to climb. Also in Spartacus, up in this cave we were talking about, there is a 7A that is very classic. I can't remember the name. I think it's either Castor or Kerberos, something like this. Really nice climbing there on that route. I think those are some of my favorite routes on the island that those are routes I like. Every time I go to Kalymnos, I kind of do, because I don't mind repeating them time after time and after time.
Yeah. That means a lot.
Yes. Also in Odyssey there is this route that it's called Siren. Then Amphora and Fortuna, which are all like 7B to 7C, and they're really, really, really fun to climb. And in the wall in afternoon, to the left of Grande Grota, there is a couple of routes that are like between 6A and 6B that are amazing. I can't remember the name, sorry, exactly, but they're super, super fun. Long climbs, technical, you have to move on the wall. Really nice.
Like on a gray or a rock or more tufa or a mix?
This is a gray rock, yes.
Yeah,
Gray rock, like
yeah,
more technical
nice.
gray rock, yes. Yep.
Yeah, super nice. Yeah, yeah. Those lines also in Aguinonta Valley, what you mentioned before, the lower grades like the 6AB are just so enjoyable. They just,
They are
like you said,
beautiful.
like the
Yeah.
good holes, and you just climb forever. It's amazing.
Yes, yes, yes. It's the climbing there. It's amazing in that wall. It's beautiful, so
It's
nice.
really,
There is I can't remember the name, but there is this beautiful 6A plus 6B route. It's like 30-meter long, and it's such a beautiful line. You just climb up on these amazing holes all the time. It's beautiful,
you
super nice.
almost you almost forget to clip the bolts, and it's so
Yes,
flowy.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, and it's worth to say that, I mean, it's probably obvious, but like everything, like, yeah, most of the stuff in Kalymnos are amazing. Like, I made you kind of choose yours, but like pretty
Yes,
much wherever you open the guidebook, it's gold, pretty much.
yes, exactly. I don't think I've climbed a route in Kalymnos that I can say this is not worth doing again. Like
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly,
In
exactly.
every grade, it's like you. I mean, all the routes are worth climbing time after time after time.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah, it is. You mentioned a bit the sun and the shade and stuff. So how does that work really? Because it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, so basically the main I think for me at least when I'm traveling by myself or with groups, um I take Kalymnos as a morning climbing destination. Like so we go climbing early in the morning. Early I mean like 8 a.m. Basically we are at the base of, like, we are starting to gear up at the wall and ready to climb the first route. And we climb till around 1-2 p.m. depending on the area we are or the sector we are. um and then it's really nice because you come down and you can have lunch, go to the beach, or you can go climbing again in the afternoon to some of the areas that have afternoon shade. But I would say like like the main climbing sectors like Grande Grota, Panorama, Spartacus, Odyssey, Ghost Kitchen, Poets, all these areas, all these sectors, they have shade in the morning, so they're in the shade usually somewhere in between 12 and 2-3 p.m. So if you start early, you have a lot of climbing hours there. And then for afternoon shade, you have Arginonta Valley, which is we were just talking about, which is usually in the shade. Like some part of the wall gets in the shade around 2 p.m. And then like by 2:30, 3 p.m. you have the entire wall in the shade, basically. And then you have also there is this other area that is called summertime and local freezer and all this, that it's in the shade in the afternoon, which also is a pretty interesting area because it's not, I mean, like, I guess summertime it has a lot of people in the afternoons usually, but then the higher areas, they're not as crowded, because you have to hike more, of course, and but they're in the shade in the afternoon. And summertime is really nice for easier climbs. Like you have a bunch of routes from 4 to 6B, basically. So with amazing view over the Arginonta beach there, which is beautiful. So yeah, the view, it's amazing there. The climbing is pretty good, and you can climb there in the afternoon too. And then there
Nice.
is a secret garden that we mentioned a couple of times too. that was one of the first like really good walls that was bolted in Kalymnos. That was like not strictly a morning sector, because
Yeah.
it actually has some sun early in the morning, and it gets in the shade like mid-morning, and then it's in the shade until like mid-afternoon, like till 3-4 p.m., and then it gets again in the sun. So it's more like if you're not feeling like waking up super early, that's a nice track to go. Also.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, Kalymnos is for the early birds. Although I went there and I'm not, and I did okay. So.
I mean, you can get around just climbing also in the afternoon. I mean, there is enough
For sure.
places for sure.
For sure.
Because I had groups where we go and we climb every day double. Like we climb in the morning. They are so motivated and psyched to get to climb as much as possible that we climb in the morning, and then in the afternoon we go climbing. So you can always find stuff in the shade. So it's just that, like, I would say like the like the main the most well known sectors are in the shade in the morning or until 2 or 3
Yeah.
p.m.
Yeah. And if we're talking about that, so really the best time to climb in the year, we mentioned a bit in the beginning, but so it's pretty much year round, no? Kind of.
Yes, I think the winter time it's kind of the toughest time in the island. I wouldn't say because of the weather. I mean, like you can definitely climb, but I think after in November, most of the shops and everything closed down in Masuri area. Um, and there is not so much people, so you're there basically kind of alone. I know people that's been there like entire winters climbing, and they've been climbing in the sun and had a lot of fun, and it was great, and they were just there by themselves, like no one else. So you can climb year round for sure. But the typical season in Kalymnos, it's like the high season in Kalymnos, it's always been October, like September, October. It's like the highest season. And then April, May, I would say, is high season, not as high as September, October, but it's pretty high season too. And then, as we were saying before, in the summertime, you can still climb. If you climb early in the morning with the winds and you find like walls where you can get some wind, you can climb no problem, and you can enjoy the swimming after. So it's nice.
Nice. Okay, that's cool. And okay, like the practicalities of how to get there, where to stay, and yeah, let's start with those two, and then reach the few other stuff.
Okay. So to get to Kalymnos, you have to. This is interesting because when you say people that they have to go to Kalymnos, they start looking to fly to Kalymnos. There is actually an airport in Kalymnos, but if you look at the flights to Kalymnos are super expensive. And also the other tricky aspect of flying directly to Kalymnos is that it's a very small airport. So if there is some strong winds, the plane doesn't land in Kalymnos, and it actually lands in Kos, and then you still have to take the ferry across to Kalymnos.
Yeah.
So you paid like 4 times more for the ticket, and you end up in the same place, basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
So so you fly to Kos basically. And there is cities in Europe, like I know maybe from Frankfurt and Milan, you can fly directly to Kos. There used to be a direct flight from Barcelona, but I don't think there is anymore. So basically, most of the flights, they have a stop in Athens, and then you keep going to Kos. And once you get to Kos, it's super easy. It's a small airport, very small airport. As soon as you get out of the airport, there is like 150 taxis waiting there to take people.
Yeah.
And there is also a bus, so you can choose here to take a bus or a taxi. The taxi normally costs around 15 euros to go to Mastihari port, because you don't have to. There is 2 ports in Kos. You don't want to go to like the main port in Kos town. You want to go to Mastihari port. And
Good tip.
this is
Yeah.
a very small, very, very small port, very small little town. Yes, and so you take the taxi or the bus to Mastihari, and here you catch the ferry that cross over to Kalymnos. And you have 2 ferries basically. You have the speedboat that it takes about 20 minutes to cross, and then you have a slower ferry that takes about 45 minutes, more or less, kind of. And they both arrive to Potia, which is the main port in Kalymnos. So that's once you get there, basically you are in Kalymnos, you're in Potia, and from here you still need to take. I mean, depending on where you're staying, of course. Most climbers, I don't know climbers that stay in Potia. Most climbers stay in Masuri, Mirties, like all on the other side. So you still have to take either a bus or a taxi to your lodging, basically.
Nice. Thanks. That was like the best explanation I heard of how to get to Kalymnos. It was like so detailed. So
I,
thank you.
I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had two notes that one when you get out of the airport. So in Kos, it's really nice because you're a climber, so you wear like climbers stuff. So the taxi drivers, they most of the time like they know, right? They're like, Mastihari,
Yes.
Mastihari.
Mastihari.
So
Yeah.
so that's nice. And the other thing is,
Yeah.
last time I booked my ferry ticket from Kos to Kalymnos in advance, which was a mistake because I think it was for the
Yes.
other port or whatever. And I arrived and it
Yeah.
was like not the right thing. So
Yeah.
don't do it, right? It's better to get there and buy it on the spot.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. This is you should, like, the ferry boat there, you should buy it on the spot.
Yeah.
Don't buy it in advance. It's
Yeah.
good to
I think
just
I
get
lost.
there, because you never know. Also, like, that I was also gonna mention, if there is, depending on the season, there is a different timetable for the ferry boats. And for example, sometimes they run only until 9 p.m. And then there is, when it's like more summertime, they run until 11 p.m. But if you happen to arrive at a time to the airport where you can't get the ferry to Kalymnos, in Mastihari itself, you have a small town with studios and everything that they actually are pretty cheap. So you can stay one night there. Like, I mean, if you get there late, and you can spend the night there and then take the ferry the next morning.
Yeah.
And then it's very true. You don't need to buy in advance the ticket for the ferry. You can just buy it
Yeah.
at the ticket window when the ferry is right there, and just cross.
Yeah. Nice. And this little port is really nice. I don't know. It's always bring you like in the vibe of Greece, like welcome. You have
Yes.
this small taverna, everything is quiet and calm. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah, that's always the first like moment that I get from
Exactly.
people when I'm traveling with the groups. It's like, wow, this is so beautiful, like.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, two more stuff of this, like where to stay, not specific, but what normally you recommend is like Airbnb or how people find accommodation.
There is a lot of accommodation options in Kalymnos. So yes, I mean, you can find through Airbnb, Booking, all the reservation platforms. Basically, you can find lodging there. Just make sure you're finding something that it's for logistics. That it's closer to Masuri area. You don't want to be in Potia, because then it's not a long drive, but it's 20 minutes or 25 minutes each day. And if you're staying in Masuri, Mirties, in this area, you can walk to a lot of cracks. You don't even need a motorbike or a car. You can walk to a lot of cars, and then if specifically you want to go to a further crack, you can rent a scooter or a car for that specific day. But for if you're staying in Masuri, it's really easy to access a lot of climbing without a car. So, and there is a lot of studios. You just need to look around a little bit. There is super cheap studios from like I don't really know the actual prices for the cheaper studios, but maybe like 15 euros per person per night. I remember the first time I stayed there in 2010, we were paying 7 euros per person.
Wow.
For a small studio with like most of these studios, they have a small balcony overlooking the
It's
sea.
amazing, yeah.
A small, kitchenette with like an electric stove, shower, of course, and that's it. And we were paying like 7 euros per person.
Wow.
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
now for like 15, 20 a person, it's still super nice.
It's still pretty cheap. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. So that's good. Important topic is the food.
The food, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's what you need to say. Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yes. I mean, all the food in Greece is really nice. It's amazing. A lot of seafood, a lot of fish, basically. Fresh fish, which is really nice. My favorite dish, always there, it's stuffed calamari, which is like this calamari that they grill with feta cheese inside and like a tomato sauce.
Oh my God.
So it's grilled with all this cheese in there, and it's amazing.
Oh my
So
God.
nice. And then the octopus, of course, and the moussaka and all this typical. There is this lamb stifado that they make, which is amazing too. So yeah, the food is amazing. There is options for everyone, like in my groups, I usually have people that are vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, like intolerance and all this stuff. So, there is options for everyone. Probably the harder one, I would say, if you're like super strict vegan, you have to be a little bit more careful because most of their food has like cheese or something like this.
Yeah.
But like most, as I said before, like the people is super friendly, they will go out of their way to help you out. So if you ask politely, they will do whatever they can to accommodate you in all aspects with food and everything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, the food is so amazing, and it's like everything is so fresh. No, that's always the feeling.
yes,
Like
yes,
so good.
yeah.
And also, if you eat meat, I think like most of the meat is free range. I don't think they have anything there that is,
Yeah.
mass
Yeah,
produced.
like the lamb is definitely from the island, and then the fish. I remember I was in Telendos one time climbing, and then we hiked back from because if you want, then we go into the logistics of Telendos, but we hiked back to the town, and we had lunch there in one of the restaurants, and the fish was like just like fresh. It was just taken out of the sea, basically.
Yeah.
So you have all this fresh fish, which is amazing. Super nice.
Yeah. And for every budget as well. Yeah, it's really cool. That's really good. I think we covered pretty much everything. I wanted to touch on like few little things, less ones. I want to respect your time and let you go to your kids.
Yes.
So, digital nomads, do you know, like people, going climbing wherever because they work from the computer. Is it something that you know if it's happening there or?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's totally happening. Yeah, the internet connection is pretty good in the island, so of course, definitely there is people working there. I actually, when I started going, I think it was the second or third year I was going to Kalymnos. I met this guy that I see every year now in Kalymnos when I go, because he travels always the same time of the year. He has this circuit where he goes to Kalymnos 3 months of the year, then he goes to Zeus, then he goes to, and he works online, and he he's been going to the island forever,
Wow.
basically. And he works from there. Yeah,
Okay. Nice.
basically. Yeah,
That's amazing. And then for families, it's probably perfect as well. Family
I think
non-climber climbers.
it's a perfect destination. It's funny, they even have now. Well, it's been there for like maybe 7 years now. So they have this place which is like a little. I don't know how you say it in English, but I think it's like a kindergarten, basically,
Yeah,
where you
yeah, yeah.
can leave your kids and they take care of your kids during the day if you want to go
Yeah,
climbing, and then
that's
you
genius.
can pick them up in the afternoon. Yeah, it's great. But also, I mean, if you want to go climbing with the kids, it's pretty easy. I would say just be careful, where your kids are when you're climbing.
Yeah, true.
Most of the cliffs, they have a very safe base, but it's mainly because of the rocks falling from the top. You don't want to have your kids, underneath someone climbing on big stalactite that it's very, fragile.
No.
So,
Yeah, true.
um, so just have that in mind if you go there. Just watch out where you put your kids, basically.
Yeah, very true. Okay, and then we didn't touch on just gear. So rope length, quick draws, how many? What would you normally recommend?
Ooh, I take a lot of quick draws here because the routes are so long, so long.
Yeah,
So I mean, you have shorter routes, of course. There is routes like if you want to climb shorter routes, there are routes that are 15-meter long, 20-meter long. But some of the most classic routes, they are like 40, 45-meter long. So you need, I would say like at least 20 quick draws. You want to have on your rack when you travel to Kalymnos. I take a lot because I usually set up different routes for the groups, and then if I'm climbing for myself, I set up a project and I leave it up, and then I need still quick draws to go climb something else. So I would say like maybe 20 quick draws. It's 20, 25 quick draws. It's a good number. Rope length, I would say 80 meters for sure. You want 180-meter in Kalymnos at least. And always tie a knot at the end of your rope, because a lot of the climbs are long. I mean, even if it's 42, 45 meters, sometimes because of the rope stretch and because they are slightly overhang and things like this, you can still make it down to the ground. But it's good to always remember to have the knot at the end of the rope.
yeah,
Yeah, and then typical harness, helmet, grigri, all this stuff.
nice. Yeah, yeah. So true. Like 80-meter at least, and 20 quick draws. That's a good recommendation. Nice,
And
man. Is there anything else you want to add? Like, I don't know, in general or whatever.
no, I think we've touched mainly on everything. I mean, there is also amazing things to do. There is a little bit of psychoblock in the island. There is this
Ah, yeah, true.
place of this beach you can go to, and you can rent a little kayak or a little boat and go do some psychoblock, which is fun. I mean, you can go diving, you can go ride bikes. There is a lot of nice hiking too around the island, so there is more stuff to do, just not just climbing. Um, there is this amazing beach that it's on the road to Sikati. When you get to Sikati or the Secret Garden parking, if you keep going down the road, you get to this beach that it's called Palyonisios, which for me at least is the most beautiful beach in Kalymnos. It's a rock beach, it's not sand. And it's this bay that it's very sheltered, so it's super nice. It has 2 or 3 restaurants nearby, so you can have lunch there after climbing. And normally with my groups, it's what people likes the most, like the beach that people likes the most, and they always want to repeat there because it's beautiful there. And
Wow.
yeah, and then maybe also mention that most people, like, it's super typical in Kalymnos to rent a scooter and ride the scooters around Kalymnos. Normally with the groups when I travel, we rent cars directly because it fits more. Of course, we fit more people per car. But also because the roads are not super well maintained. They get a little slippery, and if it rains a little bit or anything, there are rental scooters. How you say the wheels? No, not the wheel. Well, they're not in the best condition, so sometimes it's really easy for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
scooters to slide on the road. So yeah, you have to be a little careful with the scooters. In the recent years, there's been a lot of accidents with the scooters, so it's a thing to have in mind. Like sometimes renting a car, it's worth it. And also, you have to have in mind that if you don't have like a scooter license, like a motorbike license, they don't rent you the motorbike. They will only you need your driver license for the car. You can only get a car. So
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for adding that. I actually wanted to talk about that and forgot. So it's really good. And yeah,
awesome.
totally, totally worth it to take a car. And yeah, most times it's even good to take it for the whole time you're there and in advance and just
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Normally, when I
Especially
travel there, we rent a car for the whole week. You have this company; they rent the car for 30. I think it's 30 euros with the insurance and everything for per day. So
yeah,
you have the car for you the entire week, and then you can decide where you go.
exactly,
Even if you go, if you hike from your lodging to the climbing, if you walk, then in the afternoon you can go to a beach further away. So it's nice.
exactly. Totally worth it. Yeah. Nice. Awesome, Santi. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for doing that. Uh, I will link to your website and your Instagram and everything so people see what you do and the guiding and everything and all the things you recommended and the tips. Everything will be written in the show notes and in the website. Um, so yeah, thank you so
Awesome.
much. It's I think always an episode that I feel like it wasn't an episode. I was just talking with a friend about climbing. I always feel
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
man.
that's gonna be an awesome episode. So,
Yes,
so yeah.
it was great. Thank you so
So
much for inviting me
thank
to
you,
talk about Kalymnos. It's a real
thank
pleasure to
you,
talk about this place. So awesome.
thank you so much.
Okay.
And
Thank you
we'll
so
be in
much,
contact,
Amit.
man.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye
Have a great
bye.
evening.
Yeah,
Ciao.
you too. Bye.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this wide ranging conversation about the magical island of Kalymnos and that it gave you some nice information. So, as I said many times, you can find all the information in the website, climbingdestinationspodcast.com. And yeah, feel free to reach out on Instagram or wherever. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.